Hey, we're a minute late.
We've been sitting here for like 5 minutes talking, and suddenly we looked up at the clock and said, "Hey, we're supposed to be going live."
Yeah,
So
that was kind of embarrassing because I'm really good on time, and evidently not today.
it's interesting. We'll talk about time here in a minute, but we'll let some people join us first, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about right off the bat. Because time has seemed very strange today.
Well, I think that's interesting. I noticed that you seem to have a very strong connection with time in general.
Yeah, it's always fascinated me. I've always read time travel books, even since from the time I was a little kid. And yeah, that kind of stuff's always been very, very interesting.
I like the concepts that are often, on Star Trek
Oh yeah,
and the different timelines and those ideas that they present in a fictional way, but yet it's really very, I think, interesting, palatable way of presenting those ideas. Is anybody there? Somebody let us know when you're here.
oh, we got 8 people watching.
Oh, did we? Hey, 8 people that are watching. Somebody
7.
comment. I want to make
Somebody
sure
just left.
they're not offended at all. You freaked somebody out. I feel like last time we missed some comments. I think these comments are not coming up on time, and I noticed like some, interesting long comments so hopefully we'll be able to see them this time and be able to maybe comment on those comments. But as soon as somebody joins us, we will start.
But we got people watching. We're just not seeing any comments.
I'm not going till I see a comment. I'm sorry, I refuse. I just don't believe that there's 7. I think 7 people have laid their phone down, or they have turned on their
Or they
computer,
butt dialed us.
or they did that, and they have no idea that we're sitting here just really trying hard to give you some information.
See if there's something you need to do to.
I don't know. There's somebody. Okay, somebody go.
There we go.
So I don't know. I think there's a delay. I don't know. Look at that. Look at all the people that were joining and stuff. There's a definite delay on our end. So there's actually people there, but we're not seeing it.
Okay, well, we're seeing it now. So excellent. All right. Well,
how was your week?
My week has been a little strange. First of all, it seemed like time was really weird this week, and partly because the crazy weather we had like 4 days of just socked in, super heavy clouds, but no rain or very little rain. And I felt like I was in suspended animation for a while, which is interesting because now I feel like I got an extra day this week. I have felt for the entire week like I had an extra day.
Well, no, last week it was weird because I don't even remember the week. It was like I went from weekend to weekend immediately without any break. But I have been out of my mind a lot this week. I don't know what is wrong with my brain. I think I need a vacation. I think we all need to have a prayer meeting for Angela to get a vacation. I tell you, I was in my room, Kim, and it was nighttime, and I was sleeping in a tank top and my granny panties, okay? And I was in there, and I was, Dylan actually came in when he was like about 4 years old, and he saw me dressed like that because I was getting dressed, and walked in my room and I'm dressed like that, and he said, "All right, Gigi, let's go eat breakfast. You can go as Wonder Woman." So, yes, that's what that is. I sleep in my Wonder Woman costume. But anyway, the thing is, I was in there and I felt like somebody was watching me, and I didn't like that. It was a creepy feeling, and I have spirits in this house, and it didn't really feel like them because they don't give me a creepy feeling. But I swear I kept feeling creepier, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to go right over here. And I was actually facing the window, but the shade was down, and I was making sure. I'm thinking, okay, I'm watching this to make sure that shade is down, and I'm whipping off my clothes, and then I'm looking down, and I see that my phone was on a Facebook Live. Or it wasn't Facebook Live, it was a FaceTime Live. So it's like, hell's bells, evidently I boob called somebody, and it's like I am in the nude, standing there, and it's like somebody is rushing to get to their phone, evidently. And I thought, oh my God. So I hit that thing off, and I texted them and said, I am so sorry. I don't know what you saw, but man, I thought.
Didn't you broadcast yourself one time sleeping?
Yes, I don't even know how that happened. I went to sleep on the couch, and I just had dozed off, and I wake up and I pick my phone. It was laying on top of my body, and I pick it up and I got all these comments of people laughing at me and saying, "What's going on?" All I'm hearing is this, and I go to message and somebody says, "Hun, I think you have fallen asleep because you're snoring on Facebook Live." Oh my God!
See, this is what is so wonderful about technology. Now, 10 years ago, you could not have dreamed that you could have broadcast yourself snoring, and now it's possible.
I wouldn't have dreamed I could have sent a nudie picture of me across town either, but I did.
Okay, let's get back to what we were doing this week besides, running around in our granny panties and all that kind of stuff. So time was a little weird this week for me, but I know you've been, today at least, you've been painting, exercising another part of your brain today.
Yeah, and I've said to people, they ask me how to increase their psychic ability. I tell them do something creative because I do think that is connected, and I think one enhances the other. So I think that's something that, if you people are wanting to do that, it's something that's good for you to do to enhance that part of yourself. But I painted Bigfoot for a little cookie store up on Main Street called Simply. Got really good cookies, y'all try it. And I'm going to be painting a bar right down beside there. And Lord, I can't remember the name. Starts with the M. You have to forgive me. That people live here will know. And for them, I think Saturday for the Bigfoot Festival that's coming here, I think the 14th of September. So some people are getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
And they got another painter now that comes down, does really, really fancy, highly expensive, glossy, looks like a sticker stuff. I don't know if he's coming back or
he's not a freehand painter.
No, I'm just saying because I don't want nobody to confuse, that guy with me or anything, because he's like way, he's a professional painter. And
he's like a sign person.
Yeah, a sign person.
Yeah.
And I'm just a person who has been painting for 39 years, 37 years. 38 years, because I started out painting for windows like Christmas and stuff. Mine are temporary scrape-offs. When I was pregnant with Dusty, and he has just had a birthday. He's 38 years old. So it's been that long. And I was like, shocked. Speaking of time, where the heck did it go? Because I would have sworn I've been doing this, 10 or 15 years. And I got, my God, I was pregnant.
Wow.
So, but anyway, but mine looked like somebody went up there and painted it temporarily. So I'm just, I don't want nobody to think, oh my God, that guy's gone downhill. But
No, your stuff is really good. It's just different.
It's fun.
Yeah, you're a freehand. You're an artist.
Well, I don't know. I'm a person.
He's a technician, but there's both
Yeah.
are good.
Yeah.
But talking about that makes me think about Bigfoot, of course. And we have talked about Bigfoot. I think maybe the first time we did one of these Facebook Lives, we talked about Bigfoot. But I thought it'd be a good time to go back to that subject. Is Bigfoot here, really?
Hey, Sharon, Lil, you left not too long ago, and I was trying to remember your name, and it completely and utterly left my mind. There it is. Hey, I'm glad you're here.
Hey, Sharon, it's good to see you again.
Okay, what was we talking about?
Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what to say about that. Next. I really don't. That is, you ask me about anything in this world, and I will tell you I feel this, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I feel that, I get a bounce back. I really get a bounce back that feels, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like I have an aversion almost to it, and I don't know why, because that's not typical of anything that I've ever done or do. So there's something energetically there that I feel almost doesn't want me to look. And I was telling somebody earlier about a story when we went to a Bigfoot festival last year, and I do live festivals, about this little lady from Florida who was telling me that she had an experience of being chased by one. She was a farm worker, her and these other kids. They were from Mexico, and they were living in Florida, and they were doing the field workers, I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, and she was told me she's like around 50, and this happened when she was around 11 or 12, and she said that it chased them, the kids, and she ran to her trailer, and it was not like a safe fancy trailer, and she said the thing actually went around the trailer banging on it, and she was very earnest. I felt she was telling me a truth. But the reason I'm saying she's around 50 now, this happened when she was 11 or 12, and it's still a traumatic memory for her after all these years. But she goes to these festivals because, it's good for her to see other people who have had experiences. And I've had somebody else tell me, one time that they saw something at the edge of the woods. And I have told you, if in fact there is a Bigfoot in this county, I feel it is Highway 9.
Yep.
I feel it deeply, strongly. I don't know. Now, I tell you, I don't know if this is true, but I wonder if they're not connected to the UFO sightings. And I believe I might have read years ago, not to be wrong, that where there have been extensive UFO sightings, there have also been reports of Bigfoot, which makes us go to Star Wars and Chewbacca,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they chose that character because there is a connection. I don't know,
That's
but I
interesting.
wonder about it, and I do feel sincerely, honestly, and truly that Old Fort to Black Mountain Highway 9, all in there. If you're going to go looking for a Bigfoot, go look there, because that is where you're going to find it, and it ain't going to want to be found. It will protect itself. I even wonder sometimes if they're interdimensional.
That's what I've always thought.
I think they may be interdimensional. Or maybe they unintentionally interdimensional. Maybe they're opening portals. Maybe they are also just very, very, very good at hiding. Maybe turning into, just blending in with nature to the point that it makes it impossible to see them. I don't know.
I'll tell you, when I get a real feeling of Bigfoot, and I have every time I've ever driven that back way from basically from Old Fort, Crooked Creek area up to Hendersonville or to Chimney Rock, is there at Stone Mountain. You know where I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. To me, that's ground zero. That's why I always think of them when I go through there. And back when I was living in Hendersonville, and I would come that back way quite a bit, one day after I had taken that route, and I was thinking a lot about Bigfoot that night, I dreamed, and it was one of those weird things that happens to you at night that's, was it a dream or is it not a dream? That I was outside and they were surrounding me, but they had on hoods and I couldn't see their faces, but I knew that it was them, whatever is there in that area. And they were howling, but it wasn't like an animal howl. It was more like a part animal, part chanting.
It's horrifying.
It was scary, but at the same time, it just felt really powerful.
I have no comment on that.
Yeah.
That's very intriguing.
But I'll tell you what's interesting. The supposed Bigfoot sighting that we had here in McDowell County that brought on the festival and everything else was down around Lake James.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I know those guys saw something down there. I believe that they did. But what is interesting to me, a couple years ago, I guess it's been now, at the library, the Historical Society had a meeting, and it quickly, because things around here do, evolved into a session or a discussion about Bigfoot. And everybody in the Historical Society agreed. It was just about unanimous that Bigfoot's on Highway 9, which really, I loved it. I mean, that's what I love about McDowell County, is that's where the Historical Society went, and we were in agreement, Bigfoot's on Highway 9.
And there you are.
So
it's and nobody even told me. I actually found that all by myself. It's just the way I feel about it. I feel like that is a portal-ridden place. I think if you tell me anything's going on up there, I'm probably going to believe it, including a hidden base, military base, which we touched on before, including that. I don't know where, but I believe it's there. There have been sightings of airplanes going into the mountain and disappearing. And reports, as I've mentioned before on here, about people who saw someone, events, military stuff and all that. So I don't know. I just think there's stuff going on, and I think that is the place to go. And I don't think you'd be welcome to go find out for yourself. I feel that you would probably find there's a very much a pushback, whether by people that would not allow you up there, like military people, or just energetically. Some people can handle very heavy energy, and there's some way I can describe it now. Some people can go build a home in a place like that, live happily ever after, and enjoy it, and that's great, wonderful, and all that. But for most people, it's very beautiful, and you should enjoy the heck out of it. But there's some parts of it, and they're not like that, by the way. I'm talking about the inner parts, but it's that pushback. It's that heavy energy. It's that this is not where you belong. This is our place.
It's interesting that you say that after you just talked about the secret military installations, or whatever you want to call them, because many people have talked about when they get close to those type of facilities that they'll get that feeling. And I've read that is actually some kind of psychological, I don't know if you want to call it a weapon or technology.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that will just make people go, you know what, let's leave.
If you put sound that's below our what we can hear, the very low sound that will cause agitation and fear in humans. Did you know that?
How interesting.
Like elephants, for example, that's how they can communicate. And people didn't realize for a long time because they couldn't hear anything. And somebody was, at a zoo or someplace, could feel through their feet when it was closed that vibration. And of course, with the equipment and everything, they find that they're actually communicating below what we can hear, not above, but below. And anyway, as I said, if they pop that sound like in a haunted house that they might be, for entertainment, that people will actually get fear because of that low vibration. I didn't make that up.
Very, very interesting. Anything else you want to say about Bigfoot?
I feel like I would suggest caution because they are known to throw rocks and all that. And I worry because I don't want people to disturb them in case it is simply an unknown animal, which is what I decided that years ago, but now I'm not so sure. I don't want it being disturbed, and I don't want it being destroyed, hunted, mounted on somebody's wall. I feel like...
or even harassed.
I don't want bothered.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that people will be very respectful, or bad things could happen to them. And maybe to, somebody that was bothering them, which I have less caring about because, you've got it coming if you're bothering them.
What about like having the Bigfoot festival here? Is that?
I think that's just something for fun, and I don't think it hurts a thing because it's not really about them. It's about, a town just looking for a reason to have a party.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun. But I also think, and I haven't said that, it could be very educational too. I think that it could be very helpful for people. You can have your fun, but I think you could also, any reason to have a festival, right? But it could also be educational and maybe help people to open their minds a little bit to what might be. But I just hope it doesn't turn into a thing where it's going to be intrusive into people's private property that maybe live in such places. But mostly to an animal, any wild animal that just living its life out there. Don't want them bothered. I just don't want them bothered. Why would, I don't like that. I don't like wildlife getting disturbed for any reason. And, I feel like as I'm talking, I swear, I think I'm feeling a very strong vibe from that Old Fort Mountain. I swear I am. I'm going to be vibing on live thing here. I don't know. I just feel like there is a increasing vibration coming off the Old Fort Mountain back in there in the woods that seems like there is something getting a higher vibration. So it would not surprise me if there were not more sightings of any kind, like many portals opening. So maybe be looking up there, see what you see. Somebody has told me before they have seen, this, that, and the other thing coming out of those woods, like maybe alien beings even. I don't know. I feel like there's earth spirits is what I'm picking up, earth spirits. And many different type of beings from other realms, and I do not think they're going to take lightly if they are disturbed. Anyway, there, have that for what you want to do with it. Didn't tell you nothing I didn't already tell you, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm being a messenger for those people right now, and I think it's coming as a warning to, leave alone. I don't even want to talk about that subject anymore.
Okay.
That was just weird. Sorry, I'm not getting any better in my old age. I'm getting weirder in my old age. So.
No, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's non-negotiable. I'm feeling that they are beings that are very old. They are very connected to Earth. They live inside the Earth. Who seem to be having a special connection with me right now. Anyway, take it or leave it, whatever. Next.
Wow, that's neat. Well, it's funny you mentioned Old Fort and energy building there because that's also kind of manifesting in real world stuff. If you live in McDowell County, you've seen all the news articles coming out that there's a brewery that wants to come to Old Fort, and now there's a manufacturer coming to Old Fort. And that's great. But I've just thought that's weird. It just seems like all the energy just kind of went poof there at Old Fort all of a sudden.
And I told you it would 20 years ago. I told you it would. I said the energy from Asheville's going to come rolling right on down that mountain, and I am where I'm supposed to be in this town, because if there would be too much, but here it's going to be here. You look at me like I'm crazy. I did tell you that.
No, I know you did.
Okay.
I did.
I'm telling you again. Somebody's saying, what's this about skinwalkers? Is that where people Native people, especially, I think, changed like from a man to a beast.
I do not know.
I do know this, and I have forgotten, but I do think that's something that happens to special people. I do think that out there in the West on that reservation, I do think that there are skinwalkers out there, beings who can transform themselves. I do. I don't know why I believe it, but I do. Look it up, Google it, because I don't really remember the details of what that is supposed to be. I can only tell you the vibration I get when I think about it. And my take is on it. It is a thing that exists, is akin to the desert. It's akin to the native peoples. And I do think that there are beings that do change their energy from one form to another. The end. Okay. Next.
Okay. Excellent. Getting some good stuff. Well, now we can draw a correlation here from Bigfoot to a subject that somebody had asked us about. Wanted to see what your vibe was on it. There's this author named David Paulides or Paulides. It's Paulides. He's written a bunch of books about Bigfoot, but he's also he's written books and started this investigation, I guess, into something called Missing 411. And he just started to track all of these mysterious disappearances of people, primarily in national parks, but in wilderness areas. First of all, in the United States, and he started looking at it when he was asked to do so by a park ranger who had just noticed that people were missing, and there really was no good explanation or no good resolution as to where these people went. And then this author has kind of followed the trail worldwide and found that this is something going on all over the planet. Do you have any kind of vibe on that?
I thought it was very intriguing. I think the idea of missing people has always actually kind of got my attention in a way. I mean, I know missing people, go missing sometimes because they want to, or this, that, and the other. A lot of, especially Native women have been, I think, kidnapped and probably murdered and all that, which upsets me to the nth degree. But I also think that, I think there's maybe very possibly some otherworldly abductions going on, and people are not necessarily being put back. What's that guy from that? They made a movie about him, that those loggers that said they saw a UFO in the woods, remember? And one guy got abducted, and then Travis, what's his name? And then he got put back like 3 days later. It's a big story. I know you know this. It happened back in the 70s, maybe. And the guy's still talking about it. And it was, he was abducted. It was crazy. And now that I'm thinking about it, because, I haven't been thinking about this, but they were in the middle of the woods doing the logging in the middle of nowhere. And so that happened. Look it up. Just Google UFO Travis and see what you think about it. But I'm not going to say that those people are not going. Also it's reminded me as I talk about that story that we mentioned before, true story about that farmer that just disappeared out of a field and they could barely hear him, but there was no guy, and that bothers me. Fire in the Sky movie. And I think that it's very possible that there are portals that people could actually step into, not to return. Wouldn't it be interesting to find out they actually stepped into another timeline and they didn't even know? They just carried on their life because everything seems the same over there. I don't know. I just thought I'd say that for no reason.
And maybe every once in a while they have a feeling of deja vu.
Yeah, that would be weird. But anyway, who knows? I think there's a whole lot of stuff going on that we have no idea. I think that it would stretch our imaginations to the nth degree. So therefore we just don't bother because we're too busy raising babies and,
being human.
Working a job, learning to be human, learning to human. And I feel like that it's hard sometimes to let go of this reality and to step out there to say, what if? But I think when we do, sometimes it can be very inviting and intriguing, and sometimes it can be terrifying. And I think that we have these built-in defenses even that say, don't look at that, don't look at that, So I don't know, maybe there's some things that we're warned off from knowing because it might interfere with the peace we have in this life now. Maybe it would be hard to find peace here if our minds are too much over there. I don't know. I'm just talking. I don't know.
Well, now since you've warned us off, I'm still going to go down the rabbit hole.
Well, I live down that rabbit hole, so come on down.
One theory that I've read about the disappearances, the unexplained disappearances, and this little thread goes back to Roswell and our contact with ETs that go way back. at least in modern times, certainly to the 40s, if not before that. Supposedly the Nazis were very much in touch with ETs. But anyway, there was this Army colonel named Philip Corso who wrote a book the day after Roswell. We've talked about that before. And he ended up being the guy who they reverse engineered the stuff from the Roswell crash and put it into our mainstream technological culture, microwave ovens, night vision goggles, that kind of stuff. And in his book, he says at some point, and he kind of just tosses us out, at some point that we actually made a treaty with some ETs and we surrendered in a way. He didn't really go into a lot of detail, but I've read a theory that one of the conditions was that we let them take some people. And that's,
I've read that too. I've heard that the president actually agreed to that.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to say it would not surprise me. I will say that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would need an agreement. I think they just do what they want anyway, just because they're learning about us. And I think that some of them, I think there's more than one. I think there's several different varieties. I think there's probably about 40 some varieties walking the earth with us right now that we would not even recognize. But I do think that they it takes a long time. You might need to be born into this society, be raised in this society as a human being to fully understand what it is to be a human being. So therefore, it would not surprise me to find that all cultures might not have these otherworldly beings walking in and living as human so that they can report back to the home world, basically, which is what I suspect of you and I have for years.
Okay.
I do. Seriously, heart attack. I've said it from day one.
Well, I'm going to have to get my report done again today.
Day 5.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's interesting what Kelly wrote here. Society won't let you wonder or think about other things. They'll say you're crazy if you talk about other realities. And yeah, that's true to a big extent. That's the part of the control mechanism. But what I'm seeing now is people are busting out of that right and left.
I think that's the timing. I think it maybe is time. And I do think that Area 51 either has had or will have or probably still has alien beings in there, not just military secrets. I think the military secrets, and I'm talking to Harlequin Hart here, is the secret. I think that is the secret.
I think they just put that blanket of military secrets on top of stuff, and that just explains it away. They don't have to say anything else.
Well, I think they are trying to do that engineering, as you already said, for that military purpose. But I also think it's interesting that somebody said, people think you're crazy if you talk about other realities and stuff. Yeah, that, again, you're right. I think that is part of, even that's what the military or the government, whatever, did on purpose, was to stop people from seeing what they were seeing or talking about it. Is they actually used that as a tool to make people be quiet. Mm-hmm. And I think that's hideous to me. Hideous to take a human being, their true experience, and not only just ridicule them for it, to make them feel, you cause people a lot of trauma and a lot of heartache by taking away their experience and making fun of it. And that's actually what they did on purpose, the government did. That's not something I'm making up. That's actually something that has been written about, revealed.
Well, you can follow that a few decades down the road to the Kennedy assassination. And after that, when people started going, it doesn't make sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did all that by himself. The CIA came up, and this is all open information now. The CIA came up with the term conspiracy theorist to ridicule what people saw with their own eyes or what they were.
You've been told it's this. Don't be questioning the system. It's kind of upsetting, and I don't even know why that's a necessary thing. But I also think maybe humans are designed to not go past these walls. Maybe before we came here, we were told, okay, you can believe in this particular form of supernatural, like religion or whatever, and that's it. And you're not allowed to go past that because, it will interfere with your life. It could interfere with your happiness, your learning about being human, or because you're just simply not ready to know that yet. So I think that maybe that has been instilled in us we're given walls. Stay in your lane. Stay behind your walls. I don't think everything's black and white. I think there's lots and lots of gray stuff there that is beyond my pay grade, basically.
Well, that's good to hear because, a lot of times we assume that everything's for a nefarious purpose. They didn't tell us because they're evil, and maybe they're not. I don't know if you want to go now. You're talking about rabbit holes. I don't know if you want to go down this one. We didn't talk about it in advance, but we've kind of ended up there. Alien abductees. I mean, do you have people who come to see you that are abductees? I'm not asking you to,
I'm not going to list their names. No.
Yeah, but
yeah, I mean, there's been people that as soon as they walk in the house, it's like, oh Lord. And sometimes I might tell them right off the bat. And sometimes I might ease into it a little bit to see what they remember or know. And sometimes I like to hit them up with it when they walk out the door. It's like, oh, by the way,
did I tell you?
But I don't usually pounce on people with that. I usually do work into it easy. But yeah, there's been a handful of people, and I'm always kind of excited because I want them to tell me stuff. What do you remember? What do you know? But there's been some people that have had those experiences that have seen me, and it's like, you've got, I guess, maybe a stereotypical kind of person. I don't know, but it's like, people that are just so down to earth and ordinary, people that are just flat out on the surface, just ordinary, run of the mill people. They're not doing anything fantastic or frou-frou, and it's like the last person in the world you'd expect to have some of those things said that they say that they experience, and it's like, you just know it's so. And yes, Jessica, you sure can just private message me and let me, and I'll tell you what I got. But yeah, I mean, I feel that, and I know that has happened to them. I know.
Do you know that do abductions happen on the physical plane, or is it their consciousness that's being abducted, or sometimes?
No, I think it's their physical being. Okay. And Harlequin Heart there is Shane. I know it's every single thing that I think of in my mind is related to paranormal. It's probably some way, somehow it's going to work its way back to her, Harlequin Heart. But I will tell you, she said there, I think your daughter was abducted. I think so too. I do. And she was sitting out on the deck in Clinchfield where everything paranormal happens, including little people and everything else.
That's a house we're all going to go to one day and sit in the yard and wait for something weird to happen.
If I ever come into big money, and I can, I'm buying that house back. I've nothing but regret since I've sold it, because that was my family home, and I'm so angry at myself for the decisions I made. But you know what? You do the best you can when you make them, don't you? But anyway, and I didn't need to be there anymore. What was I talking about?
Your daughter
being she's out there on the deck in the back, and she's talking on the phone to somebody. And she's starting to tell them that you could see a white light. Now, we used to see these lights like airplanes come in, which I think actually were airplanes going in, maybe to the airport at that time, little bitty grass field airport. I'm guessing, because we did see them, and I assumed that's what it was. And she was saying that, it was coming in, but it was like coming towards her, and it was getting bigger. And next thing, the phone goes dead to, the person she's gone dead. The person that she was talking to said it's like she just quit talking after saying that light is really, really getting bigger, right? And then the next thing is she's laying on the bed. I happen to go to the bathroom. The light is on in the bedroom. She's laying on top of the bed out like a light. And she just doesn't remember. She just remembers, doing that. And then Dusty, my son, I think I told you before in a previous, I'll tell you again, because you don't want to go back there and find it. But he and his, at that time, girlfriend was coming back from, she might be watching this at some point. I love her. But anyway, she's coming back from Walmart, Spruce Pine. Another place where there's a lot of activity is on that road going to Spruce Pine. I don't even go, especially the one that goes to Little Switzerland. I'm not going up that road at night ever, unless I am paid an extreme amount of money or life and death of some sort. I know. It freaks me out. But anyway, it's not that it's evil. It's heavy. It's heavy energy, heavy. And that actually does freak me out. So anyway, they were coming back down that mountain, Kim, and they were happy. Dusty says that they were just really happy, and that they were laughing and all this. And they noticed over there in the, in the mountainous area where there's nothing, they saw the same thing, a light, and it was coming at them. And they both remarked, "What is that? What's that light?" It was coming at them. And then he says, next thing they know, she's crying and he's enraged. He does not know why he's enraged. She does not know why she's crying. And it freaked him out. And so, I don't know. I think, God, that would explain so much to know that in maybe their lives, or my life, if that's something that is happening, But again, if it is or isn't, those memories are erased for whatever reason. But that happened.
Well, one of the reasons I ask you about if it's happening in the physical or if it's something that's just your consciousness is being taken out is I had an experience back, I guess it's probably in the 1980s, where it was not a physical experience. But I have a very strong memory of being on all fours on my bed, surrounded by these stereotypical grays, like, they're going to get me, and I'm on all fours on the bed, just like a trapped animal.
It's horrifying.
But it was not in the physical.
I don't discount at all that some people are taken out by your consciousness. I think that is very, very possible. But I think there's other people that it's absolutely physical because they're being physically bothered.
Yeah. I worked with another DJ at WNCW. I will not call her name because she probably wouldn't want me to put this story out there. But one time we were just having a casual conversation. It quickly went to the subject. And you talk about, you don't know how many people have actually had these kind of experiences. But she shared with me when she was living in Tennessee, she and her sister both were taken out of their house through the window. They floated out the window. And they remember it. There's
a story online I read not too long ago about some workers who actually saw a woman being floated out of a house, of an apartment, like a high rise. So, I mean, and I don't know, I read that and I thought, well, that's kind of interesting because it's something about it had to ring the truth. Although, most stories of that nature, and maybe you might discount everything we're telling you too. Most of the time they can be discounted, but these are our experiences, and, there they are for your perusal or whatever.
And you always think about it, like you let your mind kind of expand and go out here and consider these things, and you may go, you know what, they're full of it. I don't believe any of that stuff.
Yeah, I don't care.
But your mind, it's like any other muscle. Your mind has been kind of exercised out here, and it comes back, and maybe it's a little more
colorful,
supple, and a little more open to some other things. I think it's a good exercise, if nothing else.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we want to say about that? We certainly didn't mean to really get off on.
I don't know how we ended up here. Unless we end up here a lot, which is making me wonder, why are we doing that? So, but hey, it is what it is. We don't know. We just go with the flow. Go with the flow, people.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come back now to some notes from things that people had said they would like for us to talk about. And one was, how would you spiritually cleanse a house? And number one, why would you do it? How would you know it needs to be done?
Well, if you're being, if you want to just be like you clean your house, right? You dust it and you mop it and stuff like that, right? Well, you can also cleanse it routinely. And the best way to do it, I think, is probably, the way that people have been doing it for eons, which is sage. So you can you can get sage from wherever people sell sage. I don't know. My cousin up at Earth Heart sells it in Marion. So go up there and tell her I sent you.
That's where I got mine last time.
Yeah, but you can get stuff. You can actually just burn white sage from the grocery store. If you got some on your shelf, just put it in something that won't crack. You could also grow it. And I meant to actually grow some a sage, white sage. I actually meant to grow some because I like the smell of it, and just a little leaf. I think I need to do that. But anyway, the point of this story is that I believe it actually does something to change the ionosphere in your home or whatever. And I think it's a very good thing to balance energies. It's got a pretty nice smell to it. That kind does, if you don't overwhelm it. And I think it doesn't hurt to kind of use that to balance. Now, if you actually have a haunting going on and you would like to calm that energy, you can again sage it, maybe with with a thing, a big clump of it. Or you can, I always think you should just ask your angels to be in every corner of every room and to take care of that, because that's their dimension and their job. But you have to ask them, I think. But, another thing you can burn, and I think it was a chiropractor told me this, and that was denatured alcohol. You have to put it in something like cast iron or something because it burns real, real hot, and salt. And that's supposed to also change the ionosphere in your home to make it be calmer. But again, you don't want to do this stuff carelessly, because I think it's inspired. I don't want you to burn down your house and then come back calling me. She told me to do this. So, be careful and if you do any of this stuff. But that's what I would recommend, is the use of that. Plus, as I told you repeatedly, imagination is the bridge that connects one reality to another. And what you want to do is you want to imagine, maybe a light coming from the center of your earth under your home through the sun, maybe through the universe. And imagine that laser beam of light then gets bigger and it actually comes out and actually sends light throughout your whole property, throughout your body, that it's healing and that it's protective. And imagine that and put some effort into it, and then kind of just end it. And one time now I had to come home and uninvite stuff, because I believe we invite things in unintentionally sometimes. And I felt like some of those people that I had talked about in previous episode with the dark eyes that were in the form of a child and in the form of a woman were coming into my house. And I think that I thought, what if I inadvertently invite them? And I just went and busted in the house one day and said, if you're uninvited. Anything that is not of this world, is not of the light, you're uninvited. Get out. So I know that's a thing that they say about vampires and stuff, but I do think they're energy vampires, and I think they will suck the lifeblood right out of you. They take your energy, make you depressed. They attach, make you extremely depressed, make you extremely exhausted. Uninvite them. You got to take control of your property. You've got to feel like this is your property. You don't want to antagonize and challenge anything that you cannot see. You've got to use your common sense and be careful, but you do have a right to do a random cleaning and a random, this is mine. And that's the best I can tell you on that deal.
One thing that you always say when you're giving us advice about how to cleanse a house, or get rid of an attachment to your body, is once you do it, forget about it. That seems to be really important, because if you keep thinking about it, you haven't let it go. You're still empowering it, right?
That's right.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah.
You're talking about changing the ions and the way the ions in the room or in the house are charged. The salt lamps, do they do anything?
Yeah. I sure do. Thank you. Okay. I have one in my kids' room, and I have one in the living room that I burn, I use all the time. I feel that I am not really big on most of the things that other people are, but that's one thing I kind of am big on, and I would recommend.
Yeah, they seem like they just kind of soften the atmosphere.
I think, again, it has to do with the ionosphere, and I'll tell you the truth, I don't even know what the heck that is, but I know that it's something that needs to be kept right. So
what about the use of crystals in cleansing?
Some people really like those. Again, I feel like everybody's different, and some people will feel that. And I actually have some in there. I like them. They make me feel better having them around. Is there any evidence of scientific value? I'm certain that there's zero, but I go with how I feel, and you go with how you feel too. If you feel having this crystal in your home balances your energy and helps to clarify things, then you should use that.
Can you be wrong and mess up and do something you don't mean to do, like with let's say crystals? I have a bunch of crystals that we got from a friend, and I've put them here and there. And I mean, is it just my intention? Is that the most important thing? Or
I don't know. I think that part of it is your intention, but I think when it comes to things too, if you put something out and you feel worse, then I think maybe that means it's not best for you. Maybe it works for somebody else. But I think I can't tell you what it is now. I don't remember, but there was something I had. You know what it was? It was a little lava idol that my uncle actually brought me back from Hawaii when I was a kid, and I love it, and I'd like to know where it is because I can't find it. But yeah, at the same time, I think the reason I put it away was because I do think it had a very negative for me vibe, because I don't think that Hawaii likes you to take things from the island, and this was made of the lava, and I was just a kid when I got it, so I mean. And I'm so grateful, right? Because I do love it. I want to make that clear. But yeah, at the same time, I think that thing might have had not an evilness or nothing, but I don't belong here with you vibe.
Well, that just kind of opened up another door we could go through briefly. Um, can stuff like that be cursed? Is there such a thing?
I don't know if there's negative energy, and people can harness that negative energy just like they can harness positive energy. And while it may not be like this thing was intended to cause a curse or harm, it may have just been, again, it didn't belong. And maybe sometimes it's like a certain color. You might say, I love this color. Maybe this color particularly might look good on me, but another color might look hideous. Might be the opposite with you, so some things just will not mesh with certain people. But yes, people can harness that, but you do have a natural built-in defense to that too, that absolutely can repel it. And that girl's right. If it doesn't bring peace, take it out.
I was just making a note of
just
what Roxanne said.
Don't make things hard.
Yeah.
Don't feel right, it ain't right. You don't have to analyze it. You just need to know, I don't like it. But if you do feel like, I like having this rock in my home. I have a little old crystal, and I don't know why. I just felt like I just want to have it. And then this lady, who I hope she's watching or will be, gave me some. She might. I don't remember. Shoe something, and it's where is it? I had it in my pocket. I thought that bothers me because I actually did have it in my pocket, and it's evidently gone into the void. But it's something from Russia or whatever, and it's like mostly coal. I actually have the coal over my hands, but it's got something else in it that's supposed to be a healing stone. And I thought, I actually like the way it felt. And I'm going to carry this around in my pocket. I probably took it out and sat down. I'm going to find it and put it back in there. And that's rare for me because I usually just don't get that kind of energy from stuff like that. But I did this.
I was just reading what Harlequin Hart has written here. Thrift stores give her scary vibes, and what? I'm the same way not because I think things are cursed, but I guess there's just a lot of energy attached.
It can feel that way because you got maybe some grandma that loves something very much. You might get that and feel all grandma yourself, and it's good. But then again, you might get a hold of something from some old grandpa who wasn't as nice as he ought to be, and it's not. And oh my God, I swear I saw this thing out at the thrift store here in town. It was like a scary clown, about 3 feet. I took a picture, sent it to my daughter. I thought she might post it. I don't think she did.
It's too scary.
It was, oh my God. It's like that thing could give somebody nightmares. But I think it was intended to do that. But anyway, I love thrift stores, but there are a couple that I have basically went in once, and I will not go back into them because it had a creepy vibe. But when you bring stuff like at home, what you want to do is you want to sage those objects or put salt in them or whatever it is, set them out in the full moon. I don't care what you do, whatever feels right to you, that's what you do, and see if it can maybe cleanse that for you. But if you trust your body, it's like that girl, if you go into a place and it feels off, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know anything more. It feels off, it's off for you. Everybody's got a different vibration.
You see what Lynn wrote here about stuff from Hawaii?
That's what I'm saying. You're really not, people mail back rocks and stuff all the time.
Yeah, there's a website where you can send your stuff back.
Yeah.
That's I did not know that. That's pretty cool. I know what I was going to say about the thrift store stuff. One day I was in a thrift store in Rutherford County. Can't remember which one it was, the hospice store, I think. And there were a bunch of vinyl records there. So, of course, I was there I just made a beeline. I was going through those. But over in my peripheral vision was it was like a little potty chair, like an elderly person would have. And I'm sure that person had passed away. And in my peripheral vision, for just a second, I saw a stringy-haired old woman sitting on that thing.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, she was there.
That's wild. Yeah, sometimes people do attach, and even that sometimes I think people might be gone and on into their whatever their reward or whatever, but that energy, like an echo, maybe an echo of that person could still be attached or be there.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're pushing about 50 minutes, but I'm going to toss one more subject out for you that somebody said they might be interested in hearing you talk a little bit about, and that's telekinesis, or moving objects with your mental energy.
I think that could happen. I wonder sometimes if some of the lost things around here, maybe the void is me actually creating a void to make things go into, maybe unintentionally. But I do think, you could even say the pendulum maybe is a mild form of that, even because you're not moving You tell it what to do, it does it. That's all power in your mind that you can send a signal all the way down your arm, all the way through this string, even if you're holding it on a pencil, and you make that rock go whichever way you're telling it to in your mind. So, I mean, that's something that we do. You can do anytime. I mean, it's just crazy. So, do I think you can move bigger, more things? I think that it can be done. I think in other countries they have been doing it for a long time, and I think it's even in the spy game, But
Oh,
Kim,
yeah.
one time you and me, I was visiting your house, and there was a candle sitting across the room for whatever reason was burning, and
I
as
remember
candles
that.
frequently do. And I said, let's try to move that flame, and we both focused on it. And you remember that?
I do
It
remember
got
that.
big, and then it went little. Whatever we told that flame to do, it did it. It was that happened. So
I definitely remember that. I had forgotten.
mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that telekinesis is a thing that some people might actually have a gift at, and I think that some people can learn maybe to do that. I also think that if I ever really did learn it, it would be bad. I would never get off the couch. I wouldn't. I'm that